Call the roll.
William Parrish.
Present.
Ann Walker.
Here.
Edward J. Warner Jr.
Here.
William Pell, Secretary Treasurer, is here. President Scott M. Horowitz.
I am here.
We ready to go?
Okay, thank you very much, and welcome to the folks that are on Zoom as well. I would just like to let everybody know that our next trustee work session will be Monday, December 4th, 2023, 9:30 a.m. here at Town Hall. And our regular meeting will be Monday, December 4th, 2023 at 1 p.m. We did get some communications in that we're all privy to, and so I would dispense with reading of communications.
Second that.
Seconded by trustee Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have some discussions that are here. First one was the draft fee schedule, and I did put out a thought at the last meeting relative to this, and I'm just wondering if anybody thought about that or had anything that they wanted to add. If you recall, I was wanting to move in the direction of setting a process and protocol for the commercial access for the piers, for the trustee properties. And I think there should be a fee for that as well. That was my thoughts relative to this, so I don't know if any of you...
Do we need to have a public hearing for that?
Well, maybe to add that to the blue book?
Perhaps we would
Perhaps you
have to
would,
do
yeah.
that, so but I think,
We can put it in now.
you could put a fee and then we could schedule a public hearing
Okay.
if you feel...
It's not in there now, so if you want to amend it, you're more than welcome to.
Right, I just think that people are coming and going, and a lot of times there's complaints, and there should be a,
A lot of wear and tear.
yeah, there's a lot of wear and tear, and I think there should be a protocol, so that way people stay, using the facility for what it's used for, respectfully, that's all. So I think that's something that we need to do. And then the constables and Marine Patrol can be notified, and, they can make sure of the condition in and out when people arrive and when they leave. You want to make sure that, supplies and equipment can be, loaded and unloaded efficiently, but you also want to get some protection for the assets and the people of the town. So I really think we should...
Would that
should
be
move in that
a
direction.
permit fee for a year-long permit, like we have in other parts of our, categories here? One-time permit for a year that gives access to the contractor to all of our facilities. And that way we can make sure that they carry the proper insurance and, all of that stuff that needs to be maintained as far as doing business with the trustees. And accountability for the use of the facility. In case something happens, we will know who exactly is using it at what time, if there's an issue with it. Because I know in the past, there have been some issues with contractors breaking some of the pilings off, and we didn't know quite who did it because we weren't sure who was using the facility at that time. So I think for accountability, I think that would be a good avenue to pursue.
It's exactly what I was thinking. And in addition, if you look at it, the piers and bulkheads and these ramps and these facilities that we have, they're very important. And, there's been a lot of discussion about this, and I think it's important for people to understand that, we're paying debt service of, in excess of $100,000 a year for the collaboration of utilizing the town's bonding ability, because we don't have bonding authority. So we then form a relationship with the town, but then we're paying the debt over the life of the bond, so 10 years. So we're spending a lot of money. It's not coming out of the tax, general fund. It's coming out of the trust revenues to pay for these things. So we don't, we have to manage this very, very appropriately and safely, and I think that it's a prudent measure for us to take from a protocol standpoint, protection liability standpoint, and offsetting the cost of the wear and tear standpoint. I think it's something that we really have no choice but to look at. So I would suggest that we add that to the fee schedule and then perhaps schedule a public hearing
To look at the nuts and bolts on that.
exactly, and amend the blue book as appropriate. So that's what I put on the table last meeting, and I just...
I do agree with you.
I'm fine with it.
Right, so what do you think just for the sake of putting something on the list here? from a fee. I mean, I was thinking even if it was $1,000, I don't think it's a lot of money for what's being done here, you know?
Yeah. The cost of doing business for them.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about people that are coming in and, you know, on a regular basis and tying up and loading things and unloading things. Sometimes it's dredge spoils, sometimes it's equipment, sometimes it's, you know, material and, you know.
How are you going to keep an eye on that?
Well, that's what we have in Marine Patrol, you know. Obviously, the public keeps an eye on it as well, because when people stay for too long, they complain, they make calls, and we end up having to go down and deal with that. But I think that if there's a protocol saying, all right, look, we're getting a load of, you know, whatever, we're gonna be coming into XYZ dock, you know, is it okay, we'll be there on Tuesday at 4 o'clock, we'll be out of there by whatever. We kinda can keep an eye on that, you know, and then you kinda know what's going on. It's been a source of a fair amount of complaints. I don't know if you all have gotten those complaints, but I've gotten a chunk of complaints about that. And I understand that folks, they need to use the facilities, and I want them to use the facilities. That's why we're maintaining them. But I just think there needs to be a protocol, and there needs to be an acknowledgement of the amount of abuse that they take. So, I'll just put it out there for discussion while we're, you know, on the fee schedule for 2024.
When are we gonna adopt that?
Well, we could adopt it today. I mean, there's resolutions, I think, on to
I have
adopt
a
it
That's what I
couple-
saw.
for
I
today.
have a couple questions.
Sure.
Okay. Just, I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Do you wanna go through the fee schedule, Ann?
I don't need to go through it, I just have a couple things that I'm curious about. So, the bottom of the second page, or the middle of the second page, we don't have any language in there about living shorelines prices. How have you been estimating them? Based on jetty, revetment, riprap?
Yeah, I think for the rocks, it would be a revetment, but I'm pretty sure that's what we use.
Linear feet, right?
Yeah, it would be linear feet of the
Okay.
revetment.
Okay, so that's, all right. And then the second page, oh no, sorry, that same page, just further up. The as-built fee. I see that we've increased it a bit. I think that we could increase it a bit more. It's currently at $2,000. The proposed increase is for $2,500. I think that we could go to 4,000. But that's up to you, because I know that may interfere with some of our budgeting. I just feel that in so many cases, either the use of the materials is treated in these as-built, and, I mean, I know it's difficult to enforce, but I really feel like this is an important thing and we need to go after it. That's a whole lot of crickets.
Well, I'm just trying to,
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it will maybe prevent more people from just building something and saying they'll pay for a small fine later. Make them think twice.
It's a deterrent.
or is this gonna make people not really ever come into compliance and just totally neglect getting a permit for the structure? I understand what you guys are saying as a deterrent, but if it's reasonable, people will come in and get that permit and do the right thing.
Is there a strategy to, and maybe Mark has to jump in on this question, or Joseph, I see on Zoom here. But is there a strategy to say that, as-built fees for, 2024 are gonna be, 2,500, but the intention of the board is to go to 2025, 4,000, because we want people, incentivize them to come in and deal with it now, and then not go and do things without our authority in the future. Because like, to your point, they don't do it the right way, and then it ends up being a big problem. So, I don't know, just a thought. Trustee Parrish, I don't know what you're thinking.
I think it should be brought up for discussion at the public hearing as well.
But the fees generally,
We want to lock in the fee.
Yeah, we don't, I don't, you know, we have a resolution on today to adopt fees, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that generally doesn't go for that public hearing.
I
phase. It would
I
be-
could definitely feel comfortable with 3,000. I think that's a, you know, it's
Good amount.
$1,000 more than what it is now. And let's see, if next year we get
You can
just
always
as
raise
many violations and as-built, maybe we should go step it up year by year. But $3,000 is, you know, a considerable percentage more than, you know, over the $2,000.
How many as-built fee applications do we get a year?
It depends. I just know that I've had in the past couple months at least 2 or 3. There's one right now for the walkway over the dune. There was one for the dock on Big Fresh Pond. That wasn't mine, but that's one that's popping into my head.
Yeah.
There's one for the bulkhead that was it was quite old, but in Fish Cove.
I'd say probably 5 or 10.
Well, there's
A
two
year,
that,
right?
there's two for the same property down in Mecox, one on the bay side and one on the ocean side,
Right.
Yeah.
so.
It is problematic, people taking these things and doing them on their own, and then they're all wrong, and then it's a nightmare.
There was a gentleman that came in a couple meetings ago that bought the house and said he didn't know. It just happens more than I think it should, and I think that it's an important thing and we need to really look at it closely.
Well, I would definitely be comfortable with 3,000.
Yeah, let's go with 3,000, then we can always increase it to 4 the following. They can, we won't be here, Ann, but they can.
Okay. That's fine
We
with
could
me.
just tell them it was your idea.
Yeah.
To go back to Scott's, for the permit type and the subtype, I just need some clarification on how that, you want that to be listed in the fee schedule.
Facilities use
Yeah,
permit.
commercial access permit.
I'm sorry.
Okay, commercial access permit for the permit type.
That way, when you have the
3,000.
public hearing, you can list it, all the commercial access that includes.
Right,
boat
exactly.
ramps.
Is this separate from a boat ramp? Because you have a commercial boat ramp.
It would be
No,
separate from the
it's
boat,
separate.
separate from the boat
It
ramp.
would be a pier or something like that, one of our piers.
Pier.
would-
And then in the
You
subtype,
can use it for the properties, you could be very broad.
in the subtype, would it be just piers bulkhead use for commercial purposes, or how would you want to characterize that?
I think it should be a yearly permit for a contractor to use any of our facilities.
But I think what she's asking is that,
The subtype, like here we have type and then subtype.
it could be,
So
it could be different types of contractor who get the price. It might be someone who's using it to lift boats with a crane on the, off the thing, or
Yeah, I mean,
it could be a very broad, different type of contract, so we
Yeah,
have
well-
to keep it open.
Well, yeah, so you could say type would be, you know, commercial, commercial permit.
Commercial facilities permit?
Yeah,
We need to be a little
or
bit more.
commercial, oh, what's the word I'm looking for?
Facilities use, commercial,
well, it
And
is a
then for the
facility.
subtype could be, you know, facilities use or.
And you have to make sure if the corporations, is it in the town or outside the town? You might need to have 2 different prices.
Yeah, and that's where we get into the public hearing of it.
Yeah.
Blue Book change for the protocol, that's where all that will come out.
So you might want to put that in the fee schedule now, a non-resident, Mark, how would you word that for a corporation, what's in the town, or the owners in the town, or outside the town,
Are you saying corporation?
or town, or owner?
Just clarify that for me.
So it's like we have like,
Corporate versus private person, non-corporate, is that how you mean, or?
no, so if you're gonna have a commercial license
Right.
issued, okay, and the contractor lives outside the town,
So non-resident?
so I would think you could do that to non-residents in a,
You know, a contracting company domiciled in the town of Southampton or a contracting company that's not domiciled in the town
Well,
of Southampton.
if it's a
using our
company, if
facilities.
it's a corporation, limited liability company, partnership, et cetera, especially with corporations, they can be, it goes by their, the state where they're incorporated in, and they can be doing business in any other state, but Sometimes corporations are incorporated in Delaware a lot because it's very advantageous.
But they have to have a
laws.
home address.
And they're treated like a person for legal purposes.
Yeah.
But their corporate address would legally be Delaware. So if they're a DBA doing business in the town and they have
Well,
an address there, you could do that.
Well, let
But
me
that's
ask
a
this-
tough distinction to make with corporations because they're different.
So let me ask this question, just as an interest of consistency. And you may or may not have the answer to this question. For even a general contractor that's required to be licensed by the town of Southampton, whether they live in the town or in the town of Southold, it's the same license fee for what they have to pay to be licensed to work in the town of Southampton?
I have to check with, the
Because, you know,
Sure,
you may,
let
you may,
you know
for the
that.
purposes of a commercial permit like that, maintain consistency
you know,
the same way. you
I think
know.
legally they could be different for residents and non-residents.
It could be,
in the
yeah,
town.
but I was just wondering what the town does.
So I can find out for you. I don't know what they do.
Right.
The
We can always
town-
put the commercial one in and then amend it. If you guys wanna amend
Yeah, we
it
put
at
a
a later
commercial-
date, we can always add.
Commercial use permit, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna do permit type commercial access permit for and then subtype facilities use
Yeah,
for 1 year,
1 year.
$1,000.
What do you think? I think it's
Yeah, it's not up
Okay.
there.
parish, trustee parish.
That's fine.
But I just think that a couple of the guys the local contractor's gonna complain that,
I'd see $500, because it would be just like a regular permit.
no, you want a little bit more.
All right,
Um,
I just,
I mean, the project costs are gigantic, and our costs on fixing these things are gigantic. I mean, we're
Yeah.
talking
But-
about
and
400 or
plus-
500 grand
Yeah.
per facility,
and
and then
you-
we're paying bonds off for 10 years, you know what I mean, to the same contractors. So it's like you gotta keep, everyone's gotta kind of keep the whole town running so that everybody can use it, and we can get things fixed throughout the waterway, rebuild infrastructure, and
also-
keep our stuff nice.
You might wanna mimic the town's, contractor regulations too on it.
yeah, if they already have liability insurance
Yeah,
incorporated
if
and
they,
all of that
yeah, if
stuff.
they don't pay, it gets revoked if they have too many problems.
Right. I think this would also cut down on a lot of the complaints, because if you have a protocol, then you have a system of accountability and people that have the responsibility to make sure that that is adhered to. I think you'll cut down on a lot of complaints from the
You
public.
also, in that permit, you would have the specifications of how the facility can be used, how long a barge or a boat can be tied up, and what are the working times and different things. You'd set parameters in that
And you could
permit.
also make it a license to work in the town of Southampton. That's what you might wanna,
Right. That's why I was asking, like, to
that
try
way,
and,
you get like all these little guys who jump around, they have to pay it. That way you know that they're doing a good job and they got insurance.
That would mean Costello would have to pay it,
Yeah, that's so big.
H&L.
You all have to pay it,
if they're using our facilities,
yeah. And if they're doing work in the town,
right, if they're using our facilities.
yeah. Costello, there's a lot of work in the town in Sag Harbor.
You know, then there's a protocol for what goes on here. Because otherwise, we don't know what goes on, right?
Yeah,
And then you got these little guys who go up the creeks. Eddie knew who I'm talking about, who
Yeah.
does stuff illegally. If they don't have a contractor's license, they have to get one. And then when the homeowner comes in and finds out they don't get a permit, it revokes back on their license. If they
I
did
would-
work without a permit.
I would say set a fee schedule, and then, because that's a blue book change, for that would be public hearing. If people have an idea otherwise, then we will listen to that, and we'll moderate that position, but
so we're gonna set the public hearing on $1,000 permit fee for the facility use. Then we could
you
have.
could always
back and-
moderate it, but
Start at that.
Okay.
you could have a
Alright,
conversation
okay.
about it, because, I mean, if you think about it, there's an incentive for everybody for us to have the proper revenue to keep those
Yeah.
facilities usable and safe,
Yeah.
so that it always works, because without that, nothing works.
I agree, as long as we have a public hearing and get input from the construction
Sure.
people.
The contractors.
Yes, I think that's really
Because
important.
They might want
Absolutely.
to have all the contractors pay
So,
for doing
yeah,
work.
all right, then I'm good with
Yeah,
doing
or
it
they
that
may,
way.
they may not want to pay, you know what I mean? But who wants to pay? But we're just trying to balance the budget. We're trying to keep facilities operational and safe, and, you know, for this board, it's no secret, you know, maintaining proper financial stability with all of our responsibility is always a challenge. You know, so we need to move in the direction either way, because there needs to be protocols that are set so we know who's coming and going and what can and cannot be done, and there needs to be a system of accountability. So we have to deal with the issue no matter what.
As long as we have input from the construction industry, I think it's
Absolutely.
important.
100%. All right, Jess, what else do you need?
Okay, do you wanna, take this out of order
Wait,
and
wait,
amend
wait,
it now,
wait,
or?
I have a couple more
Okay,
questions,
sorry,
hold on.
sorry.
So, on the third page,
Yeah.
underground utilities. So we are, on the trustee roads, we're often approached by different, companies. James, there was one recently,
Should say, start saying.
that came up on a trustee road.
Offices more.
Do we need to put some sort of fee into effect for the permit for these utilities? So this is on, I don't know if you guys heard, on trustee roads, recently, there have been a couple inquiries from utility companies to install different utilities. Do we need to put some sort of fee on that permit?
They pay
At
the
point-
application fee, right?
Yeah, currently they just pay.
And there's no other fee, yeah, okay.
I would probably leave that alone, because the homeowner ends up paying for it.
These are, for the most part, new homes, where the road sometimes is being dug.
Yeah, it's a big.
They have to,
So-
they have to fix whatever they disturb.
See, it's like, it's like the roads are a whole,
So that's gonna be one of my next
that's
questions.
the whole other thing, is that that's the
Yes.
whole Megillah is the
I know,
roads.
I know.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we want to finish with chapter 1 here.
Okay, so here's my other point. So I see, so trustee road review application has been proposed to be increased from 19,000 to 25,000. So that's great that there's an increase with that. Will we be collecting it? How will we keep track of that? Where are we going to, like, how are we gonna enforce the work that's done? Just,
Well,
or do we charge more?
I think that the trustee, that fee is the only fee that is going back
So
into
one time
restricted road,
only
one
fee.
time. So the last accounting that I got, there wasn't a lot of money left in that account.
No,
It was down to almost nothing.
yes.
And if you think about it, we're burning a lot of depreciation on our vehicles, burning a lot of labor. So we need to get that, to revitalize that, just so that we can provide everyday services like plowing and sanding and
Right.
dealing with the drainage, Band-Aids.
So we're
Dead deer.
collecting
Dead deer.
that fee with the understanding that then we'll do,
We'll continue to do the minimal work that we're doing.
Right.
We're not the highway department, and
minimal
we're not.
being a huge,
All we're able to do right now with those fees is stem the tide, basically, of the current level of services that we're providing, not anything more than that.
so in the eastern section of the town, and I'm sure Ed does as well, I get multiple phone calls, possibly weekly, pertaining to the trustee road. So I hope that going forward, there can be some sort of conversation about what to do to, even if it's a continued Band-Aid, but,
Well,
for now.
for
but
now,
It's an important conversation that really needs to be addressed.
we've been trying to address it for, I've been trying to address it for,
We, when it really comes down
Decades
to
we've
it,
been addressing it as a board.
when it really comes down to it, the trustees have to find out who actually owns the roads. We just can't be paying, if we don't own the roads, they either have to be turned over to the town or turned over to the people, and they own them, they can fix them. It has to come to a stop sooner or later.
right, because we've been doing this, and we'll call it a Band-Aid or measure,
Mhm.
because of we've been doing it in the interest of public safety.
Right.
That's it. You know, I've worked with the town board on that, and we've had conversations with the town attorney's office, with the supervisor, to try and get some recurring amount of money going into that restricted road account so that we can continue to do that. We spent $150,000 on trucks just in the last year that get beat up pretty good with plows and sanders and whatnot, so that we can make it, safe for people. But it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. And we don't collect the tax revenue there, and there is no such thing as a secret shortcut in this town. Everybody is using these roads, they're heavily traveled roads, they're large trucks, small trucks. This is a problem, and it's been a problem, and until there's a will to solve the issue, we're just gonna continue Band-Aiding this. So that will help, but it's not gonna solve the
Right,
problem.
no, I understand that.
I had some phone conversations
They could be
with
county roads.
some residents at Little Noyak Path along these lines, and I'm hoping to have an exec. I think it's probably best to have it in the new year with the town board about exactly what Trustee Pell was just talking about. And then once I have that exec with them, then maybe we could put together a meeting with the trustees and members of
Definitely.
the town board or a
Yeah.
couple liaisons, because you're right, it's been an issue for quite some time. and
If we
It's
were
not
to,
getting addressed.
thank you, Mark. If we were to start with one section of one road, my suggestion would be where there are multiple areas, but Little Noyak Path between Deerfield Road and Noyak Path. That's maybe a mile and a half, but that's continually coming up. The residents there are very concerned. So if we could look into the ownership of that one piece of roadway.
You probably have
that
to
would
do
Yeah,
it.
we already,
That would be
the
a
special
good
counsel.
start.
Hey, Joe,
Hi, may I chime in from Illinois?
go ahead.
Okay, I've spoken with Rhoda over at Be Ready. We are working, we have targeted Little Noyak Path. She came up with a title examiner's name on Thursday afternoon. She's gonna be forwarding us the CV. We're gonna take 3 or 4 parcels on Little Noyak Path and trace them back all the way back to colonial times and work from there. So Ann's suggestion is a good one, and we're working on it. When I get back to New York, hopefully we'll be able to review the CV and we can maybe retain this title examiner.
Joe, just explain, you said 3 or 4 parcels on Little Noyak Path?
Yes. To do the whole road, everything came out of a grand allotment that was sold to, I believe, the proprietor trustees. And if that's the case, as it got whittled down into smaller pieces and smaller pieces, you've got the eventual farms or building lots that you get today. So tracking backwards, we were gonna take one towards the beginning, one towards the middle, one towards the northern terminus of Little Noyak Path, a couple more if need be, and do a title search back to the colonial records. If we can see, if it was the proprietor trustees, then it would be post 1818 when the trustees and the freeholders were taken out of the real estate business by Albany. In which case, it's not our road, and maybe then it becomes a time for a conversation with the town and with Albany perhaps for curative legislation to get these roads into a municipal system.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think it has to get resolved though, because
Oh, it does.
we don't have the facilities, we don't have
Even
the.
if it's bit by bit, at least
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely,
start.
absolutely.
Okay, one more
May I
thing.
chime in also, the reason for doing 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 pieces is the cost is gonna be tremendous. And if we had to do the whole road, it would be multiplied by how many parcels we'd have to research. So we're just trying to get a flavor for how it got into existence and work from there.
If I recall in discussions with the town in prior days relative to this, there was a discussion about, giving the roads to the town, and they, I think, got a price to do a study on this, and what, you recall what that estimation of price was, Joseph?
We were looking at about $450,000.
It was about $500,000.
$466,000.
Yeah, it was like $500,000 just for the
the
determination.
study.
Just the study.
But how much is it to pave a very short section of road, like in excess of $500,000?
Right.
Exactly.
So
to
at that
pave a
point in
very-
time, they pulled the plug on the whole thing, and then here we are, still stuck with the problem, and the little trustee historical board here, doing what it can in the interest of public safety with the personnel and the limited equipment that we have. So we have it, we're doing what we can, but other people have to come to the table for this thing to work out sustainably.
Thank you. just one last thing. Taking a look at kayak rack locations, we have 6 or 8 locations on here. Little Neck Road, Oakhurst Road, Baycrest Avenue in West Hampton, Cold Spring Pond at Inlet Road West, Red Creek Pond, Hampton Bays, Ed Warner Senior, Old Pondquag Bridge Marine Park, Rose Hill Road, and Squires Pond Road. Are there, it's only because it's easier to add them now. Are there any others that
Anybody
anyone,
calling for anybody?
well,
Calling,
it's
looking for?
November?
No, I mean, throughout the summer, have they asked
Not that
for
I know of.
any? No, so we're probably okay.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're
I'd
probably.
like to see put one up in Triton,
On the Bay side?
on the bay side.
We can add it, I can't promise it'll get instituted this year.
No, I'm just saying, I think it's a really, that's a
we could
great
add it.
place because you got access to the western Shinnecock Bay and to the
Triton.
Ponquag Bridge, and it's,
Because you're gonna end up having one at, when they do the, nature walk down at Scala Pond there. I mean, not Scala Pond, but Cold Spring.
okay, well, that'll be another one too.
Nature
So
walk and go.
So you gotta put that on.
How do you want it characterized?
What's the
Cold
correct
Spring
name of that?
Pond.
The north side of Cold Springs
Yeah.
Pond, that would be the nature walk preserve.
Nature walk.
That's a really good place too.
That's like an ideal place.
Okay, I'll add those.
Does Triton, get a lot of flooding during storms down there?
Yes.
In the
It does.
springtime, in the summertime, it doesn't flood.
But the
But it's
racks are
gonna be
elevated.
there year-round, right?
Yeah,
Is there
but-
possibility of damage from
but
it?
Yeah,
security
but the
issue.
rack, you can just pick up and move, they're mobile.
And you're supposed to remove your kayak by November?
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking about the rack being there in the
Oh.
wintertime, if it should get removed or.
Well, the worst case scenario, you put it on top of the old barge. The old barge, what's left of it, it's like 4 feet above any flood area.
What about security there?
The scallop shells.
Triton,
People,
It's okay.
you can leave it alone?
Yeah.
We request that everybody lock them.
there's a lot of people use that place in the summertime, and a lot. And as far as the kayaks, I'd like to see the fee get raised up to $125 for the resident and the senior citizen to $90. I think when we basically first implemented it,
Yeah, it's-
we were trying to figure out what the fees were gonna be and how it would work out, and the cost of building them and maintenance and everything. So I think a slight bump in the fee prices is appropriate at this time.
Park's charging.
I don't know what Parks is charging. The senior citizen bump. I know it's only $15, but I know that there are a whole group of them over in Hampton Bays that just signed on.
Well, I mean, at the very least, to have the resident one $125. I think that's,
I think that's fine.
I think that's fair. And if you wanna leave the other one alone,
Let's leave
it's,
it for
I
now.
just
because
was
I think-
wondering what the town was charging, because I know they have kayak racks as well. and
I looked into that, I don't
I just,
recall.
I wouldn't
Hey,
want to.
Dave, James, can you look up on the computer really quick? Or Jessica?
I'm looking. I wanted to just bring this to your attention, just to circle back to the trustee roads for some history on when the fee was increased last and what it was. In 2004 was 12,500,
I know what it
and
was.
in 2016, we brought it up to 19,000. So now this is 8 years later. I just wanted to,
Yeah.
put that out there and just let you guys know.
Yeah, because I
I'm
mean,
looking up the
We
kayak
have to make
rack.
sure we collect it too.
yeah, well, I think some people have beaten us out of this, which is
and
problematic.
before that, it was $9,000, and before that, it was $7,500 and $6,000. A lot of this,
And it used to be 35 cents to open scallops.
I know. Well, I'm just saying,
Okay, the rental rate, for the 2023 season for Parks and Rec is $250 for one sailboat hull or kayak hull, and the rental rate for 2 kayak hulls per slip is $350.
So we're way under. We're way under, so that's good information, so,
Somebody's phone.
And they do it by lottery.
so
Yeah.
$125
We don't need to do a lottery,
is
we don't
actually.
Still a
get enough.
deal.
You could, when this was originally proposed, I suggested a fee of $200, because that was in line with what the East Hampton trustees
right.
were charging, and they sell out. and it's a huge revenue source for them.
I'm all ears.
So if you wanted to suggest, if you want, I'm happy to suggest 200, but that means doubling it. I think that maybe we step it up if you do.
150?
Well, either 125 or 150, but then next year bump it again.
To 150.
East Hampton Town Trustees are now doing $250 per kayak.
So 100,
We don't, get that many where we're like selling out. There's a couple really hot spots, I think like Ann was talking about up off of North Road, right?
yeah.
Oakhurst.
Oakhurst
So we've
and,
added a couple kayak racks to that area.
That neighborhood.
Well, we did have interest for other kayak racks in Squires Pond, and, it's getting them there and, having people, built, and, because that was a little,
But also, I don't feel as if we've marketed them as much as we might. There's that whole part of it too.
Yeah.
All right, let's start a marketing campaign.
So 125 or 150?
Trustee Warner. Not to put you on the spot.
I like 125, because I think we can bump
Yep.
it up next year.
Okay.
And one more spot, how about Corwin Lane in Hampton Bays? I know it's another really good place to go paddling, and there's a whole community around here of people that would utilize it.
That's a good spot.
You want to put one in for, by the station bar?
That's what I was gonna say. What about by the station?
Yeah, but you
bar?
have to
There's
build
no spot to
you need to
launch.
build a dock there.
Well, we can build a dock, we could get an
We'll
easy
put it in
dock.
there, then you can probably do it later on. We got a good
Get an
maintenance
easy
group.
dock.
Clean that up.
Clean it up, get an easy dock.
We don't have anyone in the office to do this program at this particular moment.
All right.
But doesn't,
I
but
c-
We
I
will,
can-
we
nothing-
will.
I could
Just
say
at
go
this
for it,
moment,
yeah. I mean, I
have
have
to
no
train
problem with
someone.
that.
I would, because it might take a
So,
year to get it there.
Jess, one thing we
Yeah.
could do, sorry, you guys.
It might take a year to get it there, so that way it's already done.
All right,
You get some interest.
We can add spots. I can't promise that they will
okay, so
But-
Yeah.
Mark volunteers one time.
be executed
Station
this
Bar
year.
and Corwin Lane, we'll do those two other ones.
Okay.
and
Okay,
then-
but Jess, you know what we could do along all of this? Right now, our deadline for this is March 31st. Let's push that off to either May 1st, because basically, we don't want people going in the water in April, like as a safety thing. So, we discussed that last year because people were rushing to come in, and then that was a concern, so.
Okay, so you want the expiration, the
Yes.
deadline
Yes,
for the applications to be April 30th now,
yes,
instead of the end of March?
yes.
You got it.
Because that's not, I think that'll be okay as far as it's before,
Yeah.
it's sort of in the middle of
Yeah.
permit.
I think
wise
the
things.
mentality behind having it in March is that we get all of these programs out of the way before the heavy season of 4x4s, boat ramps, and
Yes.
shellfish, but in this case, I think it does make sense.
You
to
can keep the
get-
dates there, but they can't actually use it until that day.
Right, right. Well, yeah, I mean, that's fine. April 30th deadline. We don't heavily enforce it anyway, because the program's not very,
You gotta go 125. What are you doing with the seniors?
125. Okay.
What about the seniors?
Leaving it the same.
Thank
To
you.
go back to the underground utilities, that's not
Eva
changing,
will be
right?
happy.
No.
No.
And then to go back to the trustee road, the road review application, I think we need to, just once we adopt this, we need to talk to the town engineer and just let them know that the fee has changed.
And we'll be expecting it deposited in our account.
Yes.
In the back
Just wanna
ones
make
too.
a note of that. Oh, and, sorry, to go back to the kayak racks, if one of you would speak with the marine maintenance crew, about, creating more racks.
Yes.
They'll
That
listen
would
in.
be great. And also,
Do you wanna do
we got a lot of complaints
Oh.
last year, from what I remember from Linnea, about is it the short racks or the tall
The
ones?
tall ones.
No,
the
no,
two
the tall
tines.
And
The
they,
tall-
those needed to be completely
They need to
phased
be
out.
horizontal
Yeah.
from now on, not
Yes, so
vertical.
I'm not sure how many are left. I haven't,
They were trying to rework, we've spoken at length
Okay.
about that.
Reuse
Okay.
the
I
word,
just wanted
words
to
to
bring that
shorten them,
No,
yeah.
no, appreciate that, yes, there were some,
So all the new ones are going to be these short
yes,
ones?
the
then?
horizontal,
Yes.
yeah.
And eventually we'll try and
Yep.
phase those other ones
Yep.
out? Okay.
They were gonna dismantle, if possible, some
Great.
of the tall ones and rebuild them.
What is the fee that we charge for a boat lift or a boat hoist?
Uh,
'Cause I see it on here.
300? Oh, that's personal watercraft.
Yeah,
0?
yeah. That's what it says on here, general permit, boat lift or hoist.
There's gotta be a charge for that.
I thought there was, but I don't.
There's supposed to be.
I don't see a charge anywhere.
I don't think there is.
Well, there should be.
Because they're gonna get more and
Absolutely.
more now.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What would
Yeah.
you like it to be?
500.
Yep,
So that's just a flat fee of 500 for the
Yep.
lift,
yep.
so not linear feet.
You could, hey Ed, you could do flat 100, then do 750 for a bigger one.
I want to keep them, I don't want people to have 40-foot boats on
No,
these.
I mean not 40-foot boats, but you're gonna get some people who are gonna have a 30-foot boat. So you make the 30-foot boat, you know, like
Because then you,
higher.
I don't know, I think we'll start with the 500 and work our way up.
exactly. And then when you go to, if you look, you've got,
Jet ski?
yeah, you
Lift
go,
or
you got
hoist?
personal watercraft, float, lift, hoist.
Also 0?
Well, and over here it's 300.
Over where?
The next page, right?
Oh, jet ski lift or hoist should be taken off of this underneath, right, James?
Yeah, that shouldn't be there.
That
because
shouldn't be under the general permit anymore.
No, it should be
Okay.
off of there because.
I'll take that off. Sorry about that.
Right, because on the next page is where you address that.
Yep, that's confusing. So
Yeah, we
jet ski
changed that
lift or
from
hoist
a
is gonna be taken
to a
away.
3-year permit.
Right, so that goes, and then it,
And biolog stabilization structure should be linear foot, right? Like we do with everything else?
I would say.
So then maybe that needs to get added to the one that I was looking at before, that's the jetty revetment riprap
Yeah, that should go
per
under,
linear foot.
that should go biolog too.
So do you want to make a separate,
Or just lump it all into the jetty.
You wanna add biolog stabilization structure to?
I don't think it
and
should be.
living shorelines to the revetment?
Riprap?
Yeah.
Riprap and jetty.
Okay, so we're gonna add living shorelines. And the biolog stabilization structure. Okay.
Now, if the living shoreline is just revegetation and not, wave breaks.
A structure?
Because, you know, you have different stages of the living shoreline, whether it's a green to more gray, which would include rocks and stuff like that. If it is just revegetating,
That would be a
is that
general
still
permit.
part of a fee for
I
linear
think that
feet,
should be
or-
just a general permit that covers that.
Yeah,
Because you're
but-
really not putting any structure on our bottom.
Yeah, you've already got that as 0 for replant, revegetate under general permit.
I just want to make sure, because if someone comes in with a living shoreline project, right?
But then it's gonna be
Then
great.
they don't get charged under the
Well,
linear
I-
foot for the revetment if
Yeah.
it's just replant, re-veg.
I think once you are calling it this live and shoreline, which is a green-gray relationship, it's going over to live and shoreline. Revegetating or just vegetating would be, yeah, it's a living, is that really a living shoreline? I
So
mean,
what
what's-
James is looking at is after, so on the annual inspections for these, right? Isn't that what you're looking at?
that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying like if someone comes in for a living shoreline could just be a revegetating, not putting any rocks
Yeah,
or
but-
anything down.
We might say if a person comes in and he wants to do it, and we look at, say, hey, you don't need rocks, because we think just get along with just replanting
It's
it.
Spartina.
Right.
Yeah,
Do we
is
still
there a
charge?
fee for that, right? That's
Well,
right.
there's the permit fee,
The
it's just that
permit fee
there's
that-
no like additional fee on top of the
For
permit
the
fee. It's
structure.
listed
Yeah.
as 0.
Yeah.
Whereas when you get into the biolog or you get into the gray
Structure.
part of it,
Yeah,
now you're going in that direction.
What I'm saying is if they see living shoreline, say, just thinking about it, if they see living shoreline, they, because when you put it in govern, you have to pick the subtype, right? And that's what charges the
So it would be a
fee.
living,
So if you put
living,
living shoreline in there, but it's not actually a rock revetment.
well, then you should have living shoreline gray green and living
Re-plant,
shoreline just
re-veg.
green.
I could put down re-veg, replant, but it's not gonna reflect that it's a living shoreline, that's the only.
Well, then it should go in as a re-veg and replant,
But
not,
We could add, to replant, re-veg, we could add
Green
living
only.
shoreline as well to that one, maybe?
Living shoreline green only.
Yeah,
Right.
to the
Like,
replant,
Like in
re-veg,
parentheses,
because
living
replant,
shoreline
re-veg
green
is
only.
a zero
Yeah.
foot
And then
fee.
in the other
Do that.
one, we'll put living shoreline green/gray or gray.
if you think about the
Right.
amount of time that this board
Yes.
spends and all of the staff spends on reviewing the permitting process for a living shoreline, it's a huge amount of time.
It's only because it's new, that we're still working our way through these, and they are the way of the future.
Right, but I think
So
that-
they're
that
so important.
The newness, they are, but the newness, I think, is gonna be there for quite a while. I mean, even on bulkheads, which are old, we spend a lot of time on them too. So I think that when you're, is a lot goes into it from everybody. So definitely the gray-green needs to get the fee, and just a revegetation permit fee and
Application for you.
application fee and an acceptable native vegetative planting plan
Yep.
that's acceptable to the board. I think is fair.
Okay.
Plover question. Piping plover piping plover inspection fee is staying the same at $250. Piping plover monitor fee is staying the same at $650. So the inspection fee, James, maybe just want to describe the difference between the monitoring and the inspection?
Inspection is if, essentially if they're having a beach event, and it gets closer to the event, we do a site visit to make sure that they're outside of a certain amount of feet or meters from any mess, and if they need any monitoring, right? So that's just a site visit when it gets closer to the permit. The monitoring fee would be if the beach event was determined that they need a monitor to either walk the vehicle or have, a monitor present so that that the nests within a certain amount of feet aren't disturbed during that event or setup of that event.
I think
So
we
those
could,
are the differences.
okay, I think we could bump definitely the monitor fee. I would suggest 1,000, but I'm okay with 750. And again, if this is something that you'd like to take under
No,
advisement.
I agree with
and-
you with this thing, with these parties and whatnot that people are having. In some instances, we've called special meetings.
We're all hands on
Yeah.
deck for some of these things.
Yeah, it really moves the whole staff, everybody's all over the place. I think that needs to go. I also think that sometimes when, with the situation with the fireworks too, and the barges and whatnot, I think
Another
that
one.
needs to, huh?
That's another one.
Right, I think that needs to be addressed too. They need to come to us for a permit, to deal with that whole issue as well, because that becomes a headache for us too. So I agree with you, Ann. I think we should bump that.
So what are we bumping into how much?
The piping plover monitor fee,
Yep. 750?
I would suggest 1,000,
Yeah.
but
750 would be good. It's in the right direction. I mean, it's a lot of work.
It's a huge amount of work.
that's why I think 1,000.
You guys tell me.
I'd be happy with 750.
I kind of agree with Ed on that, and we can
Okay.
examine it from there.
Okay.
What about the inspection fee? We'll leave that alone? The
Maybe
monitor fee
bump that up to 350?
to get it inspected?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Because what that means is that we're taking one of our limited staff and
And-
redirecting them
Exactly.
to another section of the town, having them sit in traffic to do
Yeah.
a special site
Sit in
visit.
traffic, that's like a $200 surcharge right there.
Traffic's not
So
good.
350 for the inspection fee and
Okay.
750 for the monitoring fee
Okay.
for for plovers.
Okay. If that's all, we need to do a motion to take out of order.
Wait a second, hold on.
Okay.
I don't think that's all. What do you want to do with the barges and the fireworks?
Where is that on here?
There
That's the
isn't,
point.
it isn't.
Wouldn't that be under the, that?
Commercial use.
Commercial
use?
access permit.
Well, not necessarily, because let's say it's going to load at a private facility, but it's going to stage on trustee facility.
So that's why you have to make
Well,
that permit
the
very
event.
broad.
Well.
Well, then
there was
then
talks
you need
about-
another subcategory of it.
Yeah.
Wasn't there talks about adding to the Blue Book a fireworks permit or?
Right, that's
an
what I'm
event
get-
Permit
I
because.
thought we were gonna call it a
they were all-
facilities use, yes.
Yeah,
Right,
they're
so-
all under the beach event permit, which doesn't make sense because fireworks aren't actually on the beach, they're on a barge, so it wouldn't be under a beach event.
We were looking at revamping the beach
Right.
event program, yeah.
If you kept it underneath the contractor's permit, then you can make it a very broad permit, where it includes a lot of stuff, and it'd be easier. And if they're gonna do fireworks, they just have to notify us, what they will anyway.
Right, but the problem is with the fireworks, I find, is they don't load at one of our facilities all the time. They'll load at a private facility, right?
Because it's an issue.
Right,
If it's an issue, but
but we still have to, it's still gonna sit on our
A
bottom
temporary mooring permit,
Yes,
for,
that is what that is.
Fireworks.
fireworks, for
Right.
fireworks
Barge,
displays.
yeah.
That would,
Don't we already have a temporary mooring permit?
Yeah, but specifically for, we have,
Oh, we have temporary
I
resident.
think that.
right,
So that's different. Okay, so this is an
So-
actual temporary permit.
To have
Yes.
some-
for
Yeah,
fireworks.
because it-
see what they
Okay.
got?
with a
Permit type and
specific
then
date on
subtype.
it.
yeah.
Okay, so
Or
we're
a
gonna
range
do
of feet.
We
mooring.
do,
Sorry,
And then
Jess.
Because that way you
Subtype.
want to do the lanes, you can charge.
We were doing license agreements at some point.
two ways.
Yeah.
Because then you can charge
do
it
the-
under that fee.
the
Mooring,
facilitator one for 1,000, even if they
Firework,
don't use it.
temporary.
It's like you buy a green card for Suffolk County Parks. You gotta buy the green card to get that at the
Right.
beach.
Right.
Same idea. Double dip.
I just want to get proper regulation on this stuff, because you get all these phone calls from people about things that are going on.
Well, not for nothing, there was a barge moor down in Mecox one year, and when trustee Stafford was here, and they left debris,
Yeah.
firework debris, all over the shoreline and everything. When you give them a permit, we have the ability to monitor and say what needs to be done.
Right.
I mean, to me, it's not so much the money, it's what we can.
Accountability. It's the-
Accountability.
It's the same thing with the other facilities.
I have a
People come in,
question.
it gets damaged.
Yeah.
Would fireworks be the only situation that this would be applicable? Do we want to limit ourselves by saying that it's temporary for fireworks specifically?
No,
Or is there
you-
ever going to be a situation that maybe someone does temporarily?
Absolutely, facilities or other activities that would be anchored to our,
Okay, and I'll
yeah.
put like
I mean,
IV
fireworks or other
fireworks.
activities
Yeah,
such
because you
as,
might have someone who has a barge and wants to put a band out there and have it.
that which occurs every
Yeah.
year, right? Which occurs every year.
Yes.
Okay, so,
I don't want to say.
so temporary mooring, and then I'll put in parentheses for firework, like examples, fireworks and other activities.
Fireworks,
And other, yes,
Okay,
we're covering.
Other related,
anything else?
$500 for that?
Scott, do you have anything else?
Do I have anything else?
How much is the fee on that mooring permit?
500?
Oh, yes, that's right. What is the
Say
fee?
500? What do you think?
I mean, the regular
I was gonna
resident
go
mooring
350.
permit
You
is
gonna go 350?
300.
Yeah.
how about,
Eddie's thinking
how about
350,
fish
what's
traps and fikes? Ed,
What?
how about fish traps and fikes?
Can we, maybe we
I don't
should
have
save
any of
some
this
of these
information.
fees for next
That way we
year.
get up to put a fee on it.
Let's go with just this one, go, you wanna do
350?
350 or 5 on this other situation? Where do you wanna go?
350.
Trustee Parish? Executive decision.
350.
Okay.
$350. Okay.
All right.
Then that's good.
Yes.
We're good.
Can
No, don't keep looking, because
can
then
we
you'll have
adopt
more
it
ideas.
as,
Floating pizzeria?
I need a motion to take out of order.
I'll motion?
Before we do that, I just,
Sure.
did you guys talk about doing this as a recall and amend and putting it on for the 4th for adoption?
We could do that.
That's the way it should be done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we can
I
do that.
think
Just
so.
that-
That was
that-
the
that-
pub-
that's
for
what we
public
should do.
clarity?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do it as
Yeah,
a recall
I
and amend.
agree.
They're not just ministerial changes and
Yeah,
involving
yeah.
a future budget.
Yeah, let's do
No,
a
no, no,
recall and
no.
amend. We don't need to do this today, so let's
Okay.
do a recall and amend and put it on for 12/4. How about it?
Okay,
I'll
motion
second
to
it.
recall and amend was Scott.
Yep, I'll make the
Ed,
motion,
second
recall and
it.
amend.
Yep.
Seconded by Ed Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, so
Good.
it'll be on for
That way the public gets some input on it.
Exactly.
if necessary.
December 4th.
All right.
Okay,
Good,
I'll make
good
those changes.
exercise, fellow trustees, to get some ideas around the table here. Okay, the draft work session, the next thing on the list here is the draft work session and meeting dates. I looked at it, it looks standard to me, and I believe there's, you know, it's good to maintain consistency and tradition in what we've been doing, so I'm good with it.
Yeah,
You go with it?
yeah.
Yeah,
Can I- Yeah, so I'm good with that.
not good?
Well, just quick question. Does we only have one meeting in January then? I mean, you only have one meeting in January?
It-
Can you do whatever business
We can.
needs to be done under the org meeting if necessary?
Yes.
We will.
Okay.
Yeah, we will. We will. I say we leave tradition alone, leave the meeting dates as everybody's. What I will say, though, our meetings are gonna be held here, but after the first of the year to visit the trustees, you're gonna have to go to 240 West Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays, because
Yes.
with the bad traffic situation in the town,
Well, the meetings will be.
our meetings will be here, but
The main office.
the main office will be at
Office.
240 West
That's where we're gonna be
Montauk
doing
Highway in Hampton
business.
Bays, doing regular permit stuff, and where our employees will be housed will be in Hampton Bays.
And the time dates, the time,
Supposed to happen right after the first of the year,
it's
so,
gonna be open from 8:30 to 4? right?
correct.
President
8:30 to 4.
President Hart, it was brought to my attention that trustee Parrish needs to leave early. Can we have him do his application so that he can, he needs to get out of here
He
early?
can,
That's great, thank
he
you.
can.
Okay?
Just one quick thing. Scott, let's say that at every meeting from now on, because there were people in the public that weren't aware that we were moving.
Okay, we'll say that at every meeting.
You will.
If you'd like me to post to the social media, we can do that. I'm
I
just
would.
Post
waiting
it on
for some
if
direction.
you want.
Page 7, Scott.
You'd
if
like
you
me to
want.
do that sooner than later?
Yeah, and plus all the, anything you sent out for renewal or permits, should you have a little note on it,
You
too.
got it.
We could get right through the rest of this pretty quick.
Let's get Bill out of here.
Billy, when do you need to go?
Soon.
Go ahead, go for it.
That was a
I
tentative.
have two things on this, on page 3 of 17. Trustee Resolution 2023-324. It's application of ASB Tiffany LLC, 34 West Bridge Road, Village of West Hampton, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 905-10-07-39.1. Body of Water Montague Bay has moved to have this approved.
Second.
Second.
Second, trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, okay.
On
You only
page
have one.
There's one more.
Here.
17, trustee resolution 2023-326, waterfowl hunting location permit. To approve the new waterfowl hunting location application, Michael Tessitore, Moriches Bay, West Hampton Dunes, New York.
Second.
Port.
Second, trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, those were all worked on at work session.
Yes.
All right, so let's go back, so you can move, when you need to leave, you can leave, and I'll try and chug through the rest of this here. So we're gonna leave the work session and the meeting dates alone, that's fine. I'm gonna let the public portion take place now. I know I have a gentleman here, I've asked him several times if he'd like to speak, so it's public portion time. If you wanna state your name and sign in for the record, and you have the floor.
Hi, I just wanted to, I know I came
Your
last
name.
meeting, but I'm
Your name.
just trying to get a flow of the.
Your name.
flow. My name is Mark McIntyre. We own a house in Shinnecock. It's far from the water, so I won't be coming for any permit for a dock or a bulkhead. I recently retired from the city of New York, where I built and ran a couple of environmental programs for the mayor. I want to say that I find the work that you all do as trustees to be fascinating. I think you make a real contribution to surface water quality. You know, you control access to the magical waters that surround us out here. And I just, I would like to get to know a lot more about what you do, what you're trying to achieve, and look forward to learning about that and maybe helping out in some way.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
taking,
you.
thank you for
You
taking
can-
the time to educate yourself and therefore act almost as an ambassador to educate others in our community as well.
Sure.
Because what Trustee Horowitz will say time and time again is that this is the most misunderstood board. I never use those words, but he uses them. But it's important to educate our residents because many don't know.
You touch a million things related to the water, and they're not straightforward at first glance. One of the things that's remarkable about the way you guys do things is that sometimes your navigational aids out on the water are like bamboo poles, and they're really hard to see sometimes, but they're there.
They're there in case you hit them at middle of the night with your boat, that you don't do damage to them. Because if they were a 4x4 or a 6x6 and they were a solid object, then you'd be coming to us a lot more often.
No, they give, yeah. No, I've hit the bamboo poles in a single skull a couple of times, and they give way a little bit. But
We are the oldest elected board in the country, so sometimes it appears that way.
yeah, it's just, I mean, it's like, those are unique navigational aids.
Yes, they are.
You could always contact James with the Pipe and Clover program. He's
I'm
always-
sorry?
James with the Pipe and Clover. He runs that, and he's always looking for help.
Or you could just learn, you know.
Yeah.
I say also, you could find us, you know, a guy like myself couldn't sneak up on a bed of oysters. You know I was coming. So feel free to call anytime with any
Yeah.
questions or issues. That's what we're here for,
Yep.
to
Thank you.
interact with the public and educate and try and provide whatever service it is that we can so we can continue to enjoy the magical waters, as you call them.
And, no, I mean, the story that you guys do on water quality is not told, not widely understood or shared, and it ought to be.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you.
As I said,
thank you.
thank you for potentially being our ambassador.
I'm happy to do that.
Is there anyone else on Zoom that would like to address the board at public portion? At this point, if you could put your hand up.
I
There are
do,
no participants.
I would like to bring this up at this point in the meeting before we get towards the end and people start to sign off. I know in past years when we had issues with giving out permits in a timely fashion, being that we're moving to Hampton Bays this year, I wonder if our board would be amenable to, for the commercial permits, to give a grace period of January 1st for the commercial and entities that harvest shellfish and come and get 4x4s and ramp permits from our office. If we could put it off to January 1st, being that we're going to be at 240 West Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays, people might not be able to get there. And I'd also like to recommend that anything that we can do in the office, we can do online. So I would like to recommend that that be used.
Right.
But I would like the rest of the board.
I'm confused.
Yep.
So do you want to push the date that we're,
I would like to give a grace period for 1 month so that people can find us.
End of
For
January.
enforcement.
So you're talking
For
like the
enfor-
30th.
enforcement, yes.
End of not January 1st.
You said January 1st.
Oh,
31st.
So we generally will give to the commercial, because it
Yes,
does
sorry.
take a bit, we always will give
Yeah,
generally
bye,
the, take care.
Bye, Bill.
Yeah.
Bye, Bill.
The commercial guys will
Yes.
always have.
Yep.
And the reality is that there's always a, you know, growing pains that you get whenever you make a maneuver like this. But the reality is we're scheduled to have IT and everything else have this place
Yep.
up and running so that during this lull of the holidays where people should be enjoying themselves with their families, we'll hopefully be diligently working on getting set up there so that in that first week in January, we're ready to go. People can access us if you're coming from the east, opposite of traffic versus the other direction. And for employees, they can get to work on time instead of being late, not for any reason of their own, just that the traffic is terrible. So Yeah, obviously, we're gonna provide whatever grace for
This
that
is for
month.
all
Yeah.
permits and licenses?
Yes. And
To
can we send the
extend-
Bay Constables an email
About it.
notifying them that the board is,
I will. I'm gonna draft a
Implementing?
resolution for the next meeting.
okay,
And
good.
then I'll send that resolution to them, and if any of you talk to them, maybe just give them a heads up in the meantime.
Yep.
But
And
with
I'll
all-
send that
with
resolution
all
once
intent, we
it's
should
done.
be,
Thank you, everybody.
we should
And
be good to
also,
go.
that they want us to close for a week, but we're not gonna close.
We can't do that.
We'll still be open, but you have to have patience, because we might not be all completely set up.
Yep,
We're gonna do the best we can, though,
yes.
but just as you guys are saying, we would appreciate the public's patience and understanding, because this is a pretty big move
Plus-
for us.
Plus, we have 3 new trustees who, they have to learn too.
Right, so we're gonna be going through some growing pains, as they say.
Scott will be working nights.
Yeah, I'll be working. I barely sleep as it is now.
We'll be eating eggplant
You'll be
parms at
by-
midnight.
By stocking coffee. You know?
Okay.
Uh,
You go on?
Yeah, I'm ready to go on.
Okay, I got trustee resolution 2023-322. Application is Barbara Rush, 124 Cold Spring Point Road, Tuckahoe, tax map 900-155-01-22, body of water, Cold Spring.
I'll second that.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Thanks.
Trustee Resolution 2023-323, application for Pine Neck Landing Association, south end of Landing Lane, East Quogue, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-362-1-48, body of water, Shinnecock Bay. We worked on this at work session. I recommend its approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One recusal, myself, because I'm the president of
Good luck with your project.
Pine Neck Landing, thank you.
See you, Ed.
Trustee Resolution 2023-319, notice of adoption of amendment to Blue Book A340, amending the management and products of the waters of the town of Southampton, Article 2, Section 17, spawner sanctuaries. I'm going to read all of this in here. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Freeholders Commonalty of the Town of Southampton held a public hearing Monday, November 6th, 2023 at 1 PM to hear any and all persons either for or against were heard now, therefore it be resolved. The Article 2, Section 17A1 spawner sanctuaries of the rules and regulations of the management of products of the waters of the town, AKA the Blue Book, is hereby amended as follows. Legislative intent, the Board of Trustees of Town of Southampton desires to update the book 348, Article 2, Section 17A, in order to establish 2 oyster spawner sanctuaries in Cold Springs Pond.
Second.
Seconded, trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I have trustee resolution 2023-325. This is waterfowl for 2023-24 waterfowl hunting location application to be transferred to addition co-permitters. 1, Andrew McKevitt, permit 51, added on co-permitted Dennis J. Schmidt. Brian Cord, permit 67, transferred permit to James C. O'Neill. Mario
Parisi.
Parisi, permit 65, transferred to Justin G. McGee. George E. Valentin Jr., permit 96, transferred permit to Jeffrey T. Moore. And the Bay Constables said, went through this too with us. So,
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
and just one other thing, over the weekend, I got a lot of like probably about 3 or 4 calls from waterfowl hunters getting their duck blinds ready. They had a hard time accessing a few boat ramps because of neighbors, and that was taken care of,
Neighbors blocking the ramps?
blocking the ramps.
Okay.
They was dealt with and they got through?
Yes.
Okay, good,
We're always working more than 10 hours.
okay, good.
Next one is Warren Parish. He did that one.
And well,
No, there's a return to waitlist
Oh, yeah,
2023.
2023-327,
Really does,
waterfowl hunting location permit. 2023-24 hunting location permit, return spot to wait list. Be permit number 323, Michael Tesatorio.
232.
Yes.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Trustee Resolution 2023-328, denial of new waterfowl hunting location, application of Richard Kelly, Little Long Pond in Bridgehampton. This was a request by this individual for a new waterfowl hunting location. The Bay Constables recommended its denial as there's no availability of public access to the blind location by means of either land or water. So I'd like to recommend that this location be denied.
I'll second that.
Seconded trustee Warner, all in favor? Aye.
Aye. Trustee Resolution 2023-329. So we'd like to
Table and public hearing.
table the termination of waterfowl hunting location permit number 155, Mecox Bay, Watermill, New York, and we will set public hearing
Second it.
for this.
Okay, so seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
I can do the notice of public hearing on the next meeting with help of council, and we can hold the public hearing on December 18th.
All right.
Okay, get it done before the end of the
Okay.
year.
Yeah.
So I have trustee resolution 2023-330. This is the setting of the meeting dates for 2024. As discussed earlier, these are standard. This is just the maintenance of tradition of the meetings that will be held right here at Town Hall as they were, unlike our regular business that we're going to do, which is going to be 240 West Montauk Highway, Hampton Bays.
Yes, thank you for
Okay.
saying that.
You got it.
I don't want to go to the wrong place.
Okay.
I'll give you a second. on that.
Seconded on trustee Warner, all in favor?
Second.
Okay, so
Aye, I should say.
that's one you're going to table, right?
We'll record
That's what we
it.
already did.
This is
We
your-
recalled and amended.
Yeah, we already did
So
that,
we
right?
did that one, so that's done.
17, 16 or 17.
How about 2023, what the wants? 2023-332, want 20 of 23. As recommended of the review of the town comptroller, the following vendor payment warrant 19 be approved of the amount of $86,694.11.
Okay, I will second that.
So I gotta do this, I gotta
do you
read it.
Oh, you want to read it in?
Yeah. Call ahead, $50. Riverhead Building Supply, $141.39. Town of Southampton is $86,384.50. WB Mason, $118.22. Total of $86,694.11.
I'll second that.
Seconded trustee Warner, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All right, so that,
So, before we conclude, Sag Pond, Mark,
Yes.
where do we
we have
stand
to,
with
we have
that?
to do a walk on.
Welcome for that.
Well,
This is a long dredge that could cost in the neighborhood of $350,000. I checked with the comptroller's office on the GL number that we had, which they have the only GL number for Sag Pond Inlet, titled Sag Pond Inlet Aquatic Restoration, and it has only $146,000.
So that's not going to work.
And $5, so.
Transfer
Gonna be a
money.
bit short.
Yeah, so leave that on hold for right now until you can figure that out.
we applied for money from CPF, so there may be multiple GLs that we need to look into. We were hurrying to get this done, and, because we might need to look back through CPF resolutions and find the correct GL. So SAG was opened on Tuesday. It drained really well this week. We're looking to do the long dredge on it that hasn't been done in excess of 7 years. Is there a way to accommodate this so that we can move forward?
Yeah, I think so.
Because
Can't we?
we applied for, when we originally
You
applied
gotta-
in
you have to know exactly where the
2019,
money's coming from.
Well, we can pass a resolution
When
that
we-
says we can take the action if we have.
Yeah, you have to phrase it,
When-
you have to phrase that.
when we originally applied for Sag Pond funding, we applied for 5 years of funding in 2019. We were granted 2 years of funding, I believe, but this is, again, I need to look back at this. So, in 2021, we went back and got more funding. We applied for 5 more years of funding, and it's my recollection that we were awarded 5 years of funding at that time in 2021. So I'm assuming that GL that we're looking at is from 2019. We have another GL that we need to locate. Our trouble is that in our office, we are not able to see the GLs that are assigned. We have to go to the comptroller,
So-
and this is gonna require a little digging.
Right, so the question is,
So-
while we're in a session right now with a subject to, and obviously the subject to is that you locate this GL that has the appropriate money there, can the board pass a resolution granting the authority if we meet those subjectives, or is that not a possibility?
I would not at this point. The resolution's actually the easy part. We could always do a walk-on resolution. But the threshold issue of whether you have the money to pay the contractor who will be
I think that-
mentioned in the resolution, and then President Horowitz will be given authority to sign
Right.
a contract
I
with
think the
that
problem with that
contractor.
is the timing. I think, because our next meeting is December 4th, and I think that based on the environmental conditions that are going on right now with the levels so low, that's a prerequisite for doing any long dredge. You have to have the water body drained out. So I
Right.
think that, the resolution is in the interest of the timing, Mother Nature.
So,
So,
you're exactly right. So if you guys could help here, the CPF grant that was awarded to us for Sag Pond would show the amount that was awarded in 2021. I don't have any of my,
so
my IT stuff, my laptop or anything here right now.
Is it
So
online?
we have that to reference.
right, so
at
if,
least.
but if I may,
For the awarding, yeah.
If I may.
Look that up.
Is it,
Like
okay, I'll ask this again. Is it possible, in
Together
the interest
with
of the
other
timing,
ones.
to pass the resolution to grant the authority for the board to take the action,
If the
so
money
long
is
as
available.
the money is not, the issue?
The problem will be any resolution has to say in the financial impact, at the very least, in an amount not to exceed budget. That will tie you into the budget that you have now, which isn't going to be enough, I believe, to pay the contractor.
So we have the money, it's just a question of.
The GL, which
yeah.
GL code, not
'Cause-
having the proper GL code is what she's saying.
It's a big problem.
Can you
Right.
go into recess for
Yeah, that's
10
what I was
minutes
just
and
gonna
we can
recommend.
contact
Recess.
the
Yeah,
CPF
we
and
could-
get the number?
We could go into recess for a couple minutes and see if we
Charles,
can
is
find
that
it.
okay?
Say it again?
Would you mind, we just have to straighten something out so that we can move forward, but we have to, if we recessed for 10 minutes, we should be able to straighten it out. Is that okay on your end? So we're gonna recess, figure out our
And then come back in.
situation here, and then
Then,
come
then
back.
With a
perhaps have a
walk-on.
walk-on resolution if possible, and then adjourn after that. There seems to be some confusion here that we would like to clear up, in the interest.
This is hard for me to stop and start.
I know
Right. So, all right, well, the only other option, if Mark is saying that we can't pass a resolution that just gives the authority, you sure we can't just grant the authority
Well,
without having to call? See, what I'm trying to avoid is calling a special meeting, because then what's gonna end up
I
happening?
understand. I
Yeah.
really do.
Then I gotta notice it.
I'd find any way I could to get you to do this one, but.
We have a budget of $140,000. We passed a resolution that covers $140,000, and then the contractor goes over. Can he submit a change work order in the overage for our next meeting so that we can pay it?
We know
No,
it's
because it'll
not.
go
Back
above
up on it.
10%.
Let me know if you
Yeah,
want.
that's
Okay,
too much.
I'm just asking,
No, it's too much. I don't think it's a matter of, I think, if there was wording, since it seems to be confusion,
Who does, like, accounting duties for the office now?
the comptroller's,
No, for the trustees.
we pay the comptroller's office to do that.
Why don't we just go down and,
Yeah, someone just come
Somebody
back.
I
We're
just
working on it,
recommend.
just keep,
talking.
You wanna give updates,
Keep
other
filibu-
updates that are
keep
going on?
filibustering?
Yeah, if you do
All right.
it.
We'll keep rolling for Charles'
Sure,
sake.
sure, okay.
So,
No dead air.
on the subject of the move,
And while you talk about the move? Would you like me
Which
to
one?
pay the comptroller's visit, see if I can find a way?
Trustee
Tell me
Welker
what's
seems
on
pretty,
Circle, I'll open them as fast as
yeah.
possible.
I really do
Pretty sure that-
I understand your time constraint.
Yeah.
Let me see if we can find.
time and environmental constraints, and
know
time
how we
and tide
could-
meet,
I-
wait for
yeah.
nobody.
I know how we could kill some minutes.
Oh, it is?
Scott, what's the update on the tax line?
Oh,
Billy, why don't you give us an update on Conscious
That's
Point,
okay.
and what you did down there this past weekend with the
Yes.
reseeding and clams and oysters?
I think that,
Let me look at this one.
This past weekend, I was Sunday afternoon, I went down to the Conscious Point Hatchery
That one that I just
with
had open was October.
4 or 5 of their volunteers, and
2022.
we let out a tote full of baby clams and some scallops mixed in with it.
Subject to budget. Doesn't mean
And
it's gonna lock in today.
got some pictures. But it's on Facebook.
Okay.
It's on their Facebook.
So you broadcasted it in the closed area on the
Yes.
west side
This
of
one?
North Sea
Yes.
Harbor,
Yes,
where Conscious Point has their little sanctuary over there,
yes.
and you broadcasted the oysters throughout the pond?
No, clams.
It's clams, okay.
And I actually took 6 clams and sketched EW in it.
570,000.
Great.
Cornell last week did
Great.
put some of the clams over in Shinnecock Bay, eastern
No,
Shinnecock
but this
Bay,
is-
and the north
this
side
has
of
to
the
be the
bay
same
where we
GL. There's
haven't
no
had a set
other
of
GL.
clams in the last few years. There's been sets on the
There's no
south
other
side.
GL.
So I figured we'd add
Yeah,
a
that
new
might be
strain.
pretty
Money
tied-
in yet.
tied in
Just
the
didn't
wind.
put it in
Well,
that
I think,
account.
and add a new strain of clams
So
there.
that is
Yeah.
the
That
GL,
will, you
but
know,
it has to
You have
be.
these clams that
Should we
are
call Jackie quick?
introduced, so that would be a good
Next year,
thing.
you might have to do Cold Spring because the flats are getting
How we
kind of
doing?
dry out there.
you guys find any money?
And we also put oysters in
Yeah.
meatcocks.
Can you shake somebody upside
So
down,
we
please?
get a new strain of oysters in there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of oysters in there, but having a new strain
Yeah,
makes the
it's
stock
resolution.
even
Yeah.
more healthy.
Awarded the money
So,
Right,
to the trustees from the town board for CPF grant for
Okay.
$570,000
okay.
this year. So it
For
really
Sagaponic?
depends on whether they did a contract with making the GL. I mean, I don't, that seems like it's a problem on their end.
Well,
Not the first
do I
time.
need to have my cousins Moose and Rocco come and help them find their checkbook? I mean, what do I have to do? Oh, it's from like Rodney Dangerfield movie.
I know.
Right, was that Caddyshack or something? Right? Somebody lost a bet on the golf course. That was a funny movie.
Hello, you have reached.
Oh,
The only
well,
other thing is if you call the contracts department and see if they have a contract, because wouldn't they need a contract to?
we gotta find this money, because this isn't,
Jackie, how are you? Sorry, you guys keep talking. We have a little situation, Jackie.
this is like real life,
So, we,
This is how we
Real life
And
trustees,
you're on
it's like,
speaker, but it's on very low, and we're
Where'd
in
Mark go?
a televised.
he went to the comptroller's
We're
office,
trying
he's
Comptroller's office.
trying to find the
Welcome
money.
to open up
'cause
SAG for the
look,
long dredge,
you
but
know,
we can't get.
I just
the
wanted to give the board the
resolution
authority to
and
take the
budget
action
and the
if this
budget
all got
to
straightened
be
out
in
and just move on.
what's
You know
the
what I mean?
comptroller
Obviously, if
has
the money's
versus
not in
what
the GO
CPF
code,
award is.
we
So
won't be
just
able to
need
do that,
If
right?
you could double
But
check and make sure that
when
we're
you're
correct.
working
so
in
we can get
government,
this
you gotta
resolution
dot every
worked
I,
out
cross
quickly.
every T,
Oh,
as you know.
let me
That's
see.
what we're
So
doing.
What are you guys trying to confirm?
Okay, the budget, the comptroller's office says that there's only like $150,000 in this account. I have the GL or the
There's
GL.
a new one though that
code.
we approved for 2023 on.
It's a new GL code.
What is it?
Yeah, it's a new one.
Do you have the GL code? Because the comptroller's office gave us the old one.
Yeah, they
So,
probably gave you the old one.
Did you want me to talk about the tax issue?
If you could
Yes.
give that to us,
We always keep that alive.
that would
So the
be
tax
amazing.
district got delayed
Trying to find.
till
out.
2025,
No
so it's
worries.
not if you'll get a tax line. We have a tax line. It's
Just-
supposed to be implemented January
So it's a totally new
2025.
project ID and
So
everything?
we did a lot of work in 2023,
Okay.
hoping for 2024. We got delayed,
And
but
it's,
like Trustee Werner says, we're gonna be really early
yeah.
in 2024, so there should be no excuses to get that money locked down for the trustees so we continue doing the work. You see, the public comes out and appreciates what they do. Gentleman took his time to come down here and say thank you. We do. And that's what we're trying to do for everybody in the town. And it takes, as you're witnessing right now, a lot of money to keep water
I'm gonna
quality
start
where it
drafting
needs
the
to be.
reso right now.
You know, keep shellfish.
Thank you.
Sustainable.
You're the best. So we need the,
So
so
here
we
we
need
go.
the whole GL.
And that
the-
really
and the-
should be something that
And
is,
the
is
total
locked
budget
down. It
that's in
shouldn't
the
be
account.
something that's built on a house
You're
of
the boss.
cards.
Thanks.
And it should be
Thank
transparent to
you.
everybody, to the trustees, to the public. Did you find the number you needed?
Because he's getting tired.
No,
I'm not getting tired, I can go all day here.
We're still
We're
rolling,
just-
right?
We're rolling.
Okay.
We're
We need to
going
be
to
on
get the
sound
GL
footing.
in one
We need to be
moment.
on sound
Does
financial
Mark already
footing,
have
and
his
you're
draft
kind of
report
witnessing
about
why.
the GL in, or-
You know, here we are trying to avert,
Did he
you know,
have
some
it?
environmental issues so that we can get a
Draft
proper
report.
flushing on one of the ponds
Do we
that
have
the
a
trustees own,
resident development
Sagaponic
plan
Pond,
for the
that's
base?
managed.
Yeah, he had.
Much like
we gave it to
Mecox
him,
is
we gave him all
managed.
the
Did
information.
he start with
Mecox has got a lot more shellfish in it, right?
Yep.
I
we're
can't,
supposed to.
I don't see
Sagaponic
anything
has.
where.
But in an instance like this, where you have high water levels in Sagaponic, if it's not managed appropriately, it does create water quality issues in that watershed, and it does translate into the upland outside of the trustees' jurisdiction, which is why everybody has to work together for it all to work, okay? And that's why collaboration is important. That's why everybody cooperating, working together to get the job done for the people of the town of Southampton, and everybody that visits us.
You're pretty good at the speech.
Well, I gotta,
You've been living it.
I gotta eat up all this airtime. Plus, education is important
Yes.
for the public to understand and know, because as I have said, as trustee Welker pointed out, this is the most misunderstood board that there
We
is.
went to the comptroller's office.
You have the GL number?
Yeah,
Because I would love to have a walk-on resolution and pass
I'm
it,
just gonna duplicate it, the Mecox one.
right?
Okay, you just have to take care
I just need 2 more minutes, Scott.
This is sausage in the making. And you know, we had sausage pizza for lunch here at the Board of Trustees. Probably a violation of some
You know, there's-
internal building
there's Su-
policy, but we did it anyway.
It's not gonna be
You know
done
the
yet, but
Susan
just wait
Rose,
like 5
Ed?
minutes. Do you wanna put sag?
The
what
boat's
is
48
Sagaponic?
years old.
How do you do it, sir?
whatever.
Right, James? Sausage pizza for lunch today.
I'll put in parentheses.
Yes. Oh, man, did I just broadcast that?
Yes, and you
My
should have,
wife's gonna be ticked.
you should have invited, if you were nice, you would have invited the supervisor.
Were you guys being serious that Mark went in the comptroller's office?
Yes.
He went to
Do you
go
wanna
look for
go
the,
through them and I'll just keep going?
the resolution.
Yeah, I mean, if they have.
Charles,
yeah.
you still with us?
Just taking a nap.
Yes, I am.
Thank you very much. I feel a lot better now. Thank you. I was getting nervous there. As long as I know Charles is on board, I feel good.
Hey, James, got any jokes?
Nope.
And by the way, I want to thank Charles for all he's done for the Board of Trustees.
Yes.
For all the time that I've been here. I don't know how we would have done things without Charles.
And happy retirement, Charles.
Happy retirement,
Yes.
Charles.
He's never gonna retire.
Thank you.
You are going to come back and make monthly cameo appearances just for the Board of Trustees.
I
right?
will still be your
But
He comes in
video
here.
guy.
Hey, James, Charles, you got any of your instruments with you? You can play us a song?
Yeah, we could use some smooth music right now,
Can you
buddy.
just turn that down?
Some relaxing
Got your
music.
trustee
Flip his
checkbook?
name tag on.
We've got a GL number.
You gotta do that.
Sagaponic
I got to do a walk-on
Pond.
resolution.
Water level in Sagaponic Pond. This is the long version.
you don't, you can get rid of that.
This whole sentence.
Let's go
And
next to us
this
if the supervisor wants to
I'm
talk
gonna
to
put
us.
Sag Pond here.
Probably not.
No.
I already asked him if he wanted to come in today and collaborate
There's
with the
nothing to do.
trustees. But he didn't want to come in today. But I did invite him. I did invite him to come in and talk about some things. Our budget is not proper, but we're going to work on getting it proper. So, anyway, hopefully these folks come back with the proper GL code so we can pass a resolution to get a walk-on resolution, to then pass another resolution so that we can open Sagaponic Pond, right?
So we can get a resolution and have
And
it drained
do the
properly.
long dredge, because what's happening is the channel is meandering, which doesn't make for an efficient flushing. So what's important to do with these managed waterways is you have to every so often cut open a new channel that's nice and straight,
Back.
so that when you pull that sand out, you pull the sand out of that meandering channel, and we bolster up the beaches, we bolster up town parks properties, we bolster up other properties, so that you get protection from the North Atlantic, which can be pretty brutal at times. And then what that does is that when we open it for a draining and a flushing, it flows more efficiently back and forth. You're more successful with that. You get the ability for spawning fish to get in there. You get proper salinity levels, which if it's a project where there's a program where there's a lot of shellfish in there, they require certain degrees of salinity for them to be able to thrive and to get that nice tasty oyster that people like.
Good flushing.
Good flushing.
I think
So
you're
you have
using
to,
your orders.
I know, well, a lot of the times, you know, they're like, you know, I'm putting them to sleep, which is good, so I'll be happy about that. You get that nice channel drained, and that costs money, so you dig the channel, you put the sand on the beach, you protect the beach, and then that way you go to your maintenance flushings, your maintenance openings, and then more time goes by and your channel starts to meander, you gotta
Do we
dig
have
it
to pay by
again.
the minute?
I don't know, but I don't know where these folks have all disappeared to. And it's too difficult for Charles to just stop this meeting and go on, so
Yeah.
trying to give the people some education, information while they're waiting here, since he doesn't wanna play the music, right? Because we need a GL code for that too. And we don't have that one either. So,
What is this?
we need a code for everything around here.
Yeah.
What
Want
else?
to talk about that nice new yellow building?
The nice new yellow building, the one that they're putting the new septic system in over there.
Yes, are they putting the new system in?
I don't think so. I think they're just putting the standard in for
The new
now.
pipe to the old
New
system.
pipe,
To the pipe, then they're gonna apply for a grant to get the new system?
I guess so. I guess they're gonna need
Set
a
a good
GL
ex-
code.
What are we finding?
Yeah, the GL code, set an example.
Probably be a good idea. You know, it should be, it took a long time to get here from
Yeah,
East
it's
Quad
authorized
today.
performance of long term.
People are texting me, they're like, yeah. Actually, they want us to do requests now, apparently. Apparently, you're a good tap dancer, you know?
Don't know about that.
Yeah. Well,
Joe wants to talk.
this is how we do.
With that's filings for it.
Hey, Joe. You
What do you want, Bill?
should explain who's on your, I guess it would be your left shoulder? Who are those two people in the photograph behind you on your left shoulder?
Oh, that photograph is
What do you think it's
my grandmother and grandfather on their wedding day.
Yes, look quite old, like,
Yeah, that was about 1926.
okay,
Wow.
it's pretty good.
And here we,
We just found you 570 grand. and
See,
change. You're good to go.
there you go. See, we knew.
We
You
knew
know,
Mark would
I
get it.
just love a story with a happy ending,
Okay.
you know?
But what can we do with that money?
I don't forget when there's money.
Really?
Number instead of not to exceed
Well,
budget.
I was confident, and that's why I was suggesting we pass the resolution to give the board the authority to take the action in the interest of the environment and time management. So,
Okay, so for both, not to
therefore,
exceed budget.
be it resolved that I would like to request permission to walk on a resolution. Looking for a
Second,
seconded,
second,
by trustee Pell, all in favor?
aye.
Okay, so
Aye.
we're gonna walk on a resolution.
Remember those votes, I didn't write it down yet, hang
Everybody voted aye.
on. Okay.
Pell
Need the
was
first
the
and
second.
I was
made the motion.
second.
Okay.
Bill's not here.
Do you need any numbers or anything,
James,
Jess?
I'm gonna take that part out. No, wait a
I would love for you to read the resolution that somebody could second.
Read?
Well, just the basics. I've explained way too much. Everybody's
minute.
asleep
James,
now.
can you actually, instead of printing this out, can you just
Got
put
tired of
this
listening
in
to
the
Scott.
chart?
Exactly.
When I'm done, I'll tell you what the.
Even Scott got tired of it.
Jess has most of it drawn up.
Minute track.
Jess, can you,
I just
can
need one more minute and then I
In
promise
one
it'll be
minute?
done.
we could read, Scott, to your point, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Read a little bit.
Oh, you wanna read the whole, yeah, you have it?
Yeah, you can
no.
kill a minute.
I have the
James
old,
is gonna put it on the screen.
oh, okay, I can read it.
Follow the dotted line. Bouncing ball.
It's a little bit confusing because I can explain while we're waiting. 2020, the reso number was 2023-479.
Can you read this just like the adults speak in the Charlie Brown shows?
Or James.
I don't,
No, I'll leave that to you.
just print it out and I'll go run it again.
Thank you, you guys.
You need to put Joe to sleep.
I just don't know when the last time we opened it
I'm
was.
not sure he was
The
asleep.
last
I think
time
you
we
just woke
opened
him up.
SAG, Tuesday.
No,
What
the
do you need?
the last resolution number, the Mecox Long Dredge resolution that we had from the last long dredge last year. Reference the resolution number for the short dredges. You know, the authorization to open up
Yep.
in general.
Do
And-
you even need
Do
that
we
in
need
there?
that in there?
Ask Mark. I don't think so, but I just want to give this board authority to act.
Okay, I'm gonna
Well,
take it out.
we've
What
been
was
doing a
the-
lot of acting
We
for the
could-
last
What's the
half hour.
question? I didn't hear.
Jess, we could always recall and amend that
Right.
if we need to.
Okay.
Jess is asking if we need to reference the resolution
Right.
number for Mecox that we authorized last
For SAG,
November
though.
or December.
Oh, I don't believe so. I think the two GLs that we have there, the other one that was for 149,000 that had left, that one, and then this new one for 570, the two separates in an amount
good.
not to exceed budget would cover it just fine.
Thank you. All I want to do is get this board the authority to act.
Exactly.
Every other I will be dotted, every T will be
Taking that
crossed.
contract language during the period of October
Thank
17,
you.
2022.
Yeah, back to you, January.
And Jess, we just want to add, I'm sorry, Jess, I know this is like an impossible task for me to try to do this.
The contract with the county language that's in there, what were you gonna put that, for that,
We'll
Mark?
leave that.
You could
Yeah,
put
but
that,
they-
Can I just get rid of that, because it's old, it's old.
The old
numbers.
language says it goes to April 2023, so.
Oh, sorry.
there's-
no, yeah, the time period we don't want to
January
put in,
So just get rid of the time.
but I
period,
would,
and
but
then
I
we
would
can-
reference that
County
number.
contract.
Perfect.
Because
That's
that
fine.
locks in a rate for us.
That's fine.
And then, in addition to that, I think, what's the last thing we should add in there, real quick?
We have the permit, we can reference the
The
permit on everything.
DEC permit number.
Yeah,
that
you
we
have
put
that
in.
in there.
Okay, I think you're probably good to go then.
I think we
Just
are.
get us the authority to act.
And authorize President Scott Horowitz to sign a contract with the contractor and any other documents necessary. Sorry, Jess, I know it's like.
No, it's okay.
Grateful, thanks to everybody, Charles included, for scrambling to get this done. That just, the weather is in our favor,
Yeah,
and.
we have a low bay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a low bay, and it's
That's why we're not
important-
giving up on this and
It's
walking away.
important that this be done, so
Right.
thank you, everybody,
Yep.
for working to figure this out.
Correct. We're getting the
We
job
greatly
done
appreciate it.
for the great people of the town of Southampton and beyond.
So maybe to address that, because I was, so we opened SAG this past Tuesday, as we do multiple times a year. The bay drained really well, and we've been discussing doing a long dredge in SAG as we did in Mecox last
Yeah, but
winter.
the
The
login's not-
conditions for it are favorable at this point, and there is a rather large ebb delta there. There's a big sandbar in SAG that's really precluding the proper draining, proper title exchange in SAG. So we are looking to move forward. We have the funding approved through CPF to do a long dredge. This work has not been done since, at least in the past 7 years, probably more 10 to 12 years. So there will be much better title exchange with this work, which we anticipate will be completed within the next 6 weeks, but we intend to start it very soon. And so, again, I appreciate all the work that we're doing to make this happen.
Are we there?
I'm there, I'm just emailing it to James.
James, do you want to read it? Or
Yeah,
just, do you want
well,
to read it?
I have it.
I'll bring it up on,
Oh, you're going to bring it, oh, I'm still reading it?
You gonna bring it up on the screen?
While we're waiting for that, Mecox, we're keeping an eye on, looking to open that. We have 1 to 2 inches of rain coming tomorrow night and Wednesday. We're keeping our eye on the opening level for Mecox, and we'll be probably opening pursuant to this rainstorm, perhaps next week. We're also looking,
Here we go.
wait, I have to read all that?
You could
All right, yeah, you have to make it bigger.
shorten it up a little bit if you.
Okay. I'd like to walk on a resolution to authorize the long dredge of Sag Pond.
So we've already walked it on, so now you just,
Second.
All I have to do is read?
yeah, all you have to do is we've already got
Sorry.
the permission to walk on, so now you just
Okay.
gotta pass the resolution.
Okay.
Okay.
Whereas Board of Trustees is owners of the land commonly known as Sagaponic Pond. So, make it a little bigger, James,
Would
sorry.
you like me to read it?
Or you could read it, yeah.
Whereas from time to time, the simple opening of Sagaponic Pond must be supplemented by performance of a maintenance dredge, AKA long dredge, of a section of the bay to facilitate a more thorough draining and flushing of the bay, and whereas the trustees possess a permit number 1-4736-03007/0000013 issued by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation to open Sagaponic Pond, Sag Pond, which includes the right to perform a long dredge as conditions should warrant, and whereas the laws of the New York in 1892 and 1907 vest the trustees with the authority to open an inlet from the ocean to Sagaponic Pond as necessary, and whereas when goods procured from a valid state, county, or legal applicable federal and cooperative entities, a contract exceeding the mandatory bidding threshold, i.e. $20,000 in goods, a resolution authorizing the purchase must be submitted and approved, and whereas the water level of Sagaponic Pond is at a stage where the supplemental long dredge should be performed once the Mecox cut has been allowed to lower the level of the bay. Actually,
Sag
it's once
cut.
the sag cut has been allowed to lower the level of the bay to the level that would safely allow the mechanical equipment to perform the long dredge. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the President of the Board to sign and in all necessary documentation to contract with a third-party vendor pursuant to New York State procurement law and the applicable piggyback clause of the current Suffolk County dredging contract, with the financial impact being the source of funding of this project shall be Sag Pond Inlet, GL number CQ-99H3290-00-6401-0000, and Sagaponic Pond Improvement, GL number CQ-99H717-00-6213-0000, in the amounts not to exceed the budget.
Second.
It will be seconded by Trustee Pell. Are we all in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Great, thank you,
Aye.
everybody.
You're very welcome, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
And
Charles.
thank you, Charles. Thank you, James. Thank you, Jess. Thank you,
Yep.
Comptroller's Office. Thank you, Mr. McRaven.
CPF,
Thank you,
CPF.
CPF.
Mr. Snyderman.
I want to thank my mom. That being said,
Happy Thanksgiving.
happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Nice, enjoy some
Yep.
good family time. Don't eat
Yep.
too much, as we all probably will. On that note, I would like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Pell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We got it done.
Goodness.